This is week 2 of my recovery journey. Usually, Appa, our youngest kitty, wakes us up with cuddles, but today was a little different. Zenitsu was feeling a little more needy than usual, and of course, we showered him with cuddles. Appa is, of course, right next to us with not a single thought going through his head. My partner had to run out and buy our groceries for the week, and our boys watched as he left. While he was out, I started craving my favorite fruit, strawberries, so I immediately went ahead and started prepping them by first washing, slicing, and of course, the perfect partner, Nutella. Since I've been unable to really do much, the TV has been my best friend these last few weeks. Not really too sure what happened while I was slicing my strawberries, but Appa is definitely ultra mad at Zenitsu. My boyfriend actually got me these flowers because I was feeling a little down with, again, my inability to do very much. He wasn't gone for too long and soon came back with our wagon of groceries. Our co-pilots immediately went ahead and did their full inspection, with Appa having a little trouble getting up onto the wagon. While he was out, he quickly stopped at a thrift store and got me a new book to read for this week. We change out our boys' kitty litter once a week, and our Roomba was then set out to do some cleanup. They're still getting used to this moving robot. I've had eggplant parmigiana at a restaurant a little while back, and while scrolling through TikTok, I found this super easy and healthy recipe to make at home. I washed all my eggplants thoroughly and lined the pans with parchment paper. I also preheated the oven. I skipped the step of sweating my eggplants because I wanted to eat this up as soon as possible. Once all my eggplants were sliced into 2 cm circles, I brushed them with olive oil and let them bake in the oven for 12 minutes. I started making my marinara sauce with my favorite seasonings, and as soon as the eggplants were ready, I started layering them up like a lasagna in my baking dish. Once I layered all my eggplants, I grated some Parmesan and completely covered the top. The last layer is, of course, breadcrumbs for that crunch. I returned this to the oven at a lower temperature and left it to bake for 15 minutes. Of course, while I was cooking, the boys were in their usual wrestling match. It was finally time for my 2-week follow-up, and the drive was super rainy. I was a little worried because I thought this was a sign of bad news. Thankfully, I was wrong. The great news from my orthopedic doctor is that I don't require surgery and I can now start rehabbing my leg. I can slowly put weight back on the leg, but my brace still was locked straight. After the visit to the hospital, I started to feel a few cold symptoms. I'm sure you could hear it in my voice. While I was making classic hot water with lemon and honey, I decided to squeeze the rest of my lemons into a mason jar. I paired this with a big spoonful of Buckley's. The boys kept me company while I played Hogwarts Legacy. This Switch is my first gaming console, and I quickly realized I'm not the best at fighting monsters. Zenitsu loves playing fetch, especially with his sushi toy. Appa can't quite keep up with him just yet, so he watches his brother as he runs after it. After a lot of rounds of fetch, the boys settled down right next to us as we continued playing. Our top game of choice at the moment is Overcooked. Only when Appa lets us though. I'm glad my first 2 weeks of recovery went great and I'm finally on track to get back on the court. Stay tuned for week 3 recovery next week.